Hi, everyone. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve murders from our couch. My name's Amy Archer. I'm your host, and I'm here today with Twin Flame Becca.
Hey, everyone. How are you today?
What is your last name? McBee?
Yes. I only go by Becca McBee.
Hi. Good morning where you are. How are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful day here. It's very sunny in the room I'm sitting in. So
I am on the farm. My husband, Timmy, cut the field yesterday, and my allergies have been a nightmare ever since.
Was there enough crop? Did you sow enough crop this year?
Well, we're not sowing any crop. He's just cutting the weeds down.
Oh, okay.
We just have fields that are like going to hay, so he's cutting it down.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whatever that. I don't know. I'm out of my depth here.
Because you have, how many acres do you live on?
So we live on my in-laws' land, and they have 68 acres.
Wow.
So we own like 3 of those acres.
That's still a lot.
It's quite a bit. When you have to cut the grass, it's a lot. That's why I get out there on my little zero turn. I got my headphones on.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
It's
country
a lot,
folk.
I really enjoy cutting grass, but that's not why we're here today.
No.
So I want to talk. We're here today, guys, to talk about the Yogurt Shop Murders, which was on HBO Max 2025. I've heard from a lot of listeners that they didn't love the documentary. They felt it was slow, is the overarching comment. I have mixed feelings on it. I do see that, like, I understand that point of view.
Yeah.
And I see how some people maybe thought it was a little jumpy or all over the place. But I thought parts of it were really beautiful.
You know why I think people don't like it? I think it's very sad. And
It's very sad.
You feel that sadness in every scene. Like, you feel the grief of this community coming through you. And I think it's hard to watch because you feel that. It left me exhausted. I watched it again yesterday. It's exhausting emotionally, I think.
Yeah, I will agree with that. And I read an interview with the director, and I apologize, I'm blanking on her name, but she said that she did not want to release it all as a binge because she felt like it was too much to take in. And she also provided therapy for the entire A24 crew that did this because she felt like it was a lot. And I understand that, I think. Because even I took 9 pages of notes. I think the meat of the episodes, like, I think the meat of the case, if you will, of the documentary is episode 3.
Yes.
Because that's where you get into the confessions and were they coerced and were they fake, and like that's the meat of it. But I thought that, and I sometimes, I have to pick and choose when I'm covering these things because we can't have 6 hours to talk about it, although I would.
I feel like I could talk 6 hours about this.
But, I had to kind of skim over a little bit about the girls, which is kind of upsetting to me. So I really want to make sure that if you guys want to learn more about these beautiful girls who were murdered, I mean, no one should be murdered, but they did not get to live a life. They were 13, 17, 15, and 17.
It's
to
tragic.
watch this the first episode, because they talk a lot about who the girls were. There's footage of them. They're just, I mean, they're teenagers. And this happened in 91.
Yeah.
So I was about their age.
I was 11. Yeah.
Okay, let me figure this out. I was 14.
Yeah.
So I was their age. And they were like hanging out at the mall and working a part-time job and like doing things that just normal teens do. And now they are frozen in time. And it's so sad.
It's so sad. And every member of the family that you see in this documentary, you feel the sadness. I don't think Amy, is it Errors?
Errors.
Errors. I don't think her family has smiled since 1991.
No, and I love the brother's wife.
Oh, she's
going out, getting those couch detectives rounded up, and she's like, we're going to solve this. And I love that. A, how do we get that job?
I know. I want to be a part of that group.
And B, I loved it. I thought she's doing, like, she's taking this on as if it is her own.
Yes.
And I thought that was really amazing. Yeah, and you do see the the reactions from the family really run the gamut, right? There's like, there's Barbara, who's kind of, even my mom and I were talking about, and she's like, Barbara doesn't seem like she's like destroyed. I'm like, well, I think she is putting on a public face.
Yes.
And she said at one point, people asked me, why am I not crying? And I said, because I have nothing left. I mean, she
Yeah.
lost 2 of her daughters.
And she is so beautifully well spoken.
Oh my God.
Like,
I loved her. I loved her. And so my point though is like, she may not seem to be super destroyed at all times. Then you go to the Ayers family and Bob Ayers is very angry.
Oh.
And I get that too. I
Yeah.
totally get that too.
Yeah.
It's just heartbreaking. So what were we talking about before we started that I wanted you to talk about on air?
Oh, so there is a Rolling Stones article with the producer.
It's a Rolling Stone, Becca, not Rolling Stones.
Oh, is it really?
Mick Jagger didn't write it.
Well, my whole life I've been calling it Rolling Stones.
Stop. No.
Yeah.
That's something I would do. I'm wearing off on you. Like I just said gamut, and I always struggle over that. Is it gambit? We don't know. I don't know.
And I say
don't
words
know.
so wrong every
I do
moment
too.
of my
I
life.
do too. I do too.
So in the Rolling Stone article, the filmmaker Margaret Brown, she does a sit-down interview with them and
Okay,
talks
Margaret
about
Brown. That's her name. Thank you.
talks about Emma Stone, the actress, and her husband were the ones who came to her and said, "Hey, we want to put on this documentary. We want to help pay for it. We have funding."
Okay.
And when Margaret started to tell people she was going to do this, everyone told her that story is cursed. The yogurt shop murders is cursed. Everyone involved in it, like, stay away from it.
Oh.
And she decided to move forward, and that's where she connected with Claire. And Claire told her too, this is cursed. This kind of ruined my life. I stopped in the middle of what I was doing. Like, I don't know if you want to move forward.
Oh my God, are we cursed talking about it?
Goodness. But it just, the grief that you take on
Yeah,
and how
it's a
everyone
lot.
is still suspended on December 6th, 1991. And so she decided that when she was going to do this, she didn't know what direction. It's not going to be solved in her documentary. Is she going to talk about the convictions, the confessions? So she just kind of really purposely left the documentary open-ended. And each episode is a story of its own that's kind of compelled into the fore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
And
Yeah, that makes sense because the documentary doesn't have an angle.
no.
Maybe that's why people are feeling it's
Yeah.
rootless. You know what I mean?
And my younger son is in a lot of criminal reform and political justice classes, and he knew about this case from a class he took last semester. And they looked at it as the confessions were coerced, they are falsified. This is
I
bad,
absolutely agree with that.
that this is bad policing
Yeah.
and an overzealous group of cowboys who were going to find someone to pay for this no matter what.
Here's the thing. We watch a lot of cold cases from this time period. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't envy these detectives because they had no technology.
No.
Like, you had to build a case oftentimes on a confession. Or you had to build a case on eyewitness testimony. That's fucking hard.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand emotions are so high. These beautiful girls are dead. The families are grieving. It's your community. And, you know, you're 30, 35 years old and you look at these punk kids.
Yeah.
I'm using air quotes. And you are angry. And you really kind of try to nail them into this because you believe it's true. But how many innocent people are in jail because of stuff like that? Like,
Yeah. I also think you have to look at the time. It was 1991. When was that whole satanic panic going on?
oh, it was in the 80s, but it was still
Kind
there
of-
were vestiges of it, yes, and we see it here.
And I think these boys wore black. They hung out, they drank, they listened to that heavy metal music.
Well, you figure like it really was still in the zeitgeist when Columbine happened, and that was 98.
Yeah.
So it was still pretty heavily believed at this point. But it's just, and I'm not excusing what the police did. I think, forcing a confession is the worst thing you could do to somebody. Yeah. I'm just trying to explain how I think they get there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Aside from Hector Polaco, who is a problem.
And where is he now?
I don't think like a Paul Johnson walks in there and is like, I'm going to force a confession out of this guy. I honestly think Paul Johnson believes I'm going to get this guy to admit that he did it because he did it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think they go in thinking.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
All right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
To go down the rabbit hole. Here we go.
Am.
I have 8 pages of notes.
I have about 4 pages back and front, handwritten, but kind of not just things I want to, reminders.
Well, as always, just interrupt me. So there are a few different timelines here that's important to know. We have the original timeline of when the murder occurred. That's December 6, 1991. There's the 2009 timeline of when the boys were released. There's also the 1998-1999 timeline of when they confessed.
Yeah.
And then there's current day. So there's a lot of time happening here. So episode 1 takes us through the crime, and I have just a summary of the crime, okay? And this is from KXAN, which is an NBC affiliate, and the doc. I just kind of compiled it. So the victims are 13-year-old Amy Ayers, 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, 15-year-old Sarah Harbison, and 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, who, by the way, has the most amazing sister, Sonora.
Oh, and Sonora. Oh,
I love her.
I love her.
Like, I need to talk to her at some point.
Is she accepting new clients? Like,
Can I talk to her about the stress I took on during this podcast? She'd be like, bitch, I lost my sister.
I know. I lost 5 hours of my life.
Oh, my God. No, I loved her. She was absolutely great.
Yeah.
So the I Can't Believe It yogurt shop on Anderson Lane went up in flames on December 6, 1991. When the fire was put out, the bodies of the 4 girls were found in the torched building. There was evidence they had been sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. The bodies were in different locations, which I thought was interesting. 3 were together, kind of piled on top of one another. And Amy, the youngest, was about 12 to 13 feet away.
Yeah.
They were all in the back of the store. They were tied with their own underwear and bras. And they were shot in the back of the head with a .22 caliber pistol. But Amy was killed with a different gun. She was killed with a round from a .380. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of episode 1. This is where we meet Claire. So Claire's a filmmaker, and she is the original documentarian on this.
Yes.
They used a lot of her footage. She was filming it in 2009. And we find out later, she doesn't tell us here, but we find out later that she was doing it with the slant of coerced confessions.
Yes.
So she was taking a video class, and she says she had a friend who worked the case, so she had access, and she did it, but she never finished it. And she says later she feels like she let everybody down.
Yeah.
I liked her.
I liked her, too.
So now we learn about the Creek people. This is so something that would have happened in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I can't even tell you. Like, we had so many creeks around here. Yeah. And kids would go down to them and drink. Like, that's what you would do. You'd smoke, you'd drink, you'd just get away from the parents.
It's easy. No one can get down there. Adults are too lazy to come after you down there.
Yeah. You can avoid the enemy, which were adults.
Yes. And we grew up in a time, and I don't think it's so much anymore, but adults were the enemy. They weren't 100%. To be trusted. Yes.
100%. So we learned that there were a bunch of boys drinking in the creek, and the creek kind of butts right up. It's Shoal Creek, I think the name of it is. It butts right up to the yogurt shop. Yeah. So easy peasy. Another
easy
thing
access.
that they talk about later is that they think somebody went in earlier and the bathroom was back there, maybe asked to use the bathroom and unlock that back door.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. John Jones is the lead homicide investigator. We see... Okay, this was wild. We see footage of him getting the call.
That night, they were doing like a reporter ride-along. It's insane.
Insane, absolutely. So I said, I wish the crew went in and got some video of this that we could have maybe, I mean, I don't want to see the girls, okay? But like, can we just get a sense of what it looked like and what was going on? You know what I mean?
No, yeah, totally.
So the crime scene was a mess. There was water everywhere. There was ash everywhere.
Yeah.
It was not an easy crime scene to work.
No, and I've had a house fire. What the fire doesn't take, the water destroys. So even if the fire didn't get it, the water that they used to put the fire out destroys everything that the fire didn't. So I can see how this crime scene was a mess.
Yeah. What did you think of Mike Huckabee? Huck.
I think that time has not been good to him.
Yeah.
To me,
he looked rough.
It's like, and when you see pictures of him from the 90s, he's a good-looking guy. Like he doesn't have.
Yeah.
He looks like maybe he's been drinking too much over the years.
Yeah, he's looking a little rough. I think anyone associated with this case has probably been self-medicating in some way, doing something like that. But I did feel like I thought it was a good thing that he didn't trust Hector Polanco.
Yes.
They withheld information from him, and I think that was smart. For them to recognize that in the moment, like, hey, wait a minute, I think this guy's forcing confessions. I thought that was...
Yeah. And he was the one who fought with the medical examiner to keep the girls there, that there was something new called DNA, and we should try to get it. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that DNA is probably, if ever, going to be the one that breaks the case. They have a small left over. But he had the whereabouts then in the 90s to... Yeah.
Yeah. So... only 2 of the girls were supposed to be working, and they called the manager. So this manager, she's like 24 years old, and she goes down there and she has to identify these people.
Yeah.
Now, I did read, and again, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to do a follow-up episode to this, because I was reading on Reddit that she reported that, is it Jennifer or Eliza? I think it was Jennifer. Was getting threatening phone calls at work.
Oh.
That I haven't read that anywhere.
No.
Apparently she testified to that in court. She talked about it in court, but they either threw out her testimony or the judge wasn't going to allow it. So I'm not really sure what happened there. So turns out Jennifer picked up her sister, Sarah, and 13-year-old Amy from the North Cross Mall. People on Reddit also, by the way, real angry Austin locals that they're showing the wrong mall in all this footage. It's not the North Cross Mall. So she picked them up. She brought them back. They ordered pizza. And Reese, I think is the name of the manager. She is really upset she is really insistent that they were probably in the middle of closing up. And you said you had evidence of that too?
So I was listening to the Crime Junkie episode before we started to record. And Crime Junkie reports that they know that probably when the attacks started is probably at 11:07, because Jennifer's numbers log on to the register and do an open sale, like to open the register to get the money out. And there was about $500 missing.
Wow. Okay. So we get a lot of recollection from the families of how they came to find out. It's very, very heartbreaking. We also meet Beverly Lowry. She is an author of Who Killed These Girls, and apparently her book is very detailed and very good.
I don't think I read this book, but she's an author that when I was going through my true crime of the 90s, read a few of her books.
Yeah. Oh, okay. She says what made this case difficult to solve was the water, like you said. And Huck says it was up to your ankles. There was soot, there was water, like no fingerprints, can't even attempt it, whatever.
And they said they tried. Yeah.
So now let's pivot to how these 4 boys, and we'll talk about who they are, got onto the radar of the cops. So a week after these murders, Maurice Pierce, who I absolutely would have dated in 1991. He was like carbon copy of my boyfriend Mike that I was dating in middle school. Long hair, mullet, definitely a band T-shirt on.
Yes.
The ringleader of some light criminal activity. Absolutely. Yeah. So he is 16 and he decides to go to the North Cross Mall and walk around with a loaded gun in the waistband of your jeans.
Jeez.
And this was a time when we didn't think it was cool to walk around with an AR-15 strapped across your chest. Like, we just didn't want you doing those things.
Yeah.
So they arrest him.
Good.
And Forrest Wellborn was 15, and everybody says he was pretty much Maurice's disciple. Like, he would have done anything.
Yeah.
The gun that he had was a .22.
Oh.
And it was only 2 blocks away from the yogurt shop.
Yep.
So that's interesting. But it is a week later.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was the same night.
No.
So Maurice is questioned by Hector Polanco.
Oh, man.
The Cobra.
This guy.
So he is called the Cobra because he solves every case and he gets a confession on almost every case.
Surprise,
That's not
surprise.
a good thing.
Yeah, no.
I wrote, this guy's a real problem. He's coerced a ton of confessions, and God only knows how many people are sitting on death row or have been put to death because of this asshole.
And he just has a real air about him. Like, he looks like he's trying to be cool. I didn't like him the moment I saw him.
So he gets this one guy to confess. I think the guy's name was Buddha Sean Smith. Mm-hmm. And when they had to release him because none of the details matched up.
Yeah.
And he did this with a couple people.
Yeah.
He would have them confess and they'd be like, okay, like I tied them up with a nylon rope. Nope, have to rule you out. Like they were making errors in their confessions.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So soon Huck and Jones start holding stuff back from Polanco, which was smart. So he questions Maurice for 3 to 4 hours. So here is what Maurice says to Hector Polanco on tape. He and Forrest, no, I'm not sure if this is on the tape or there's 2 confessions that come out of this initial meeting. One is recorded and one is written. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what he says basically is that he and Forrest were just chilling.
Yep.
And Forrest wanted to drive around with the gun like you do. Mm-hmm. So they go to the mall. Forrest gets out of the car with the gun. Maurice goes to the bathroom. So essentially they split up.
Yeah.
And Maurice says about 11:30, Forrest comes back to the car and says, I did something. And then he said, me and Mace did something.
Yeah.
He smelled like hairspray. Okay. I want your thoughts on this Mac Lubin Creek person who is Mac or Mace.
Yeah.
Because the documentary, when they have the voiceover being read of the confession, they didn't include that part about me and Mace. I included that because I saw it on the screen.
Yeah.
And later they asked Paul Johnson about Mace, and like he's very cagey. What is going on with this guy? I mean, I think it's pretty clear. I think they have, figured out that because the details match Mac's life.
Yeah.
So I think Mace and Mac are the right person, or the same person. But like, why have they not even considered him? And they're like not even... I don't know. Let me put it this way. It raised a flag with me when Paul Johnson refused to talk about it.
Yep.
And they weren't including it in the documentary. I thought that was kind of weird.
Like, what is the backstory of like why there were no dots connected to this one kid?
Yeah. Like he's mentioned right here in a confession, but they don't go after him.
No.
It's weird. Not that we know of. Maybe they did, but they didn't tell us.
Yeah.
We can only react to what information they give us, and that's
what we're seeing. Yeah.
So, who else was with you? They ask Robert Springsteen, who's 17, and Michael Scott, who's 17. Mm-hmm. Mike and Rob supposedly came into this later, and okay. So then he says the day after the murders, these 4 guys stole a car and went to San Antonio. They get home, and Forrest wants to borrow Maurice's gun to go do what he did last night: go kill some more girls. So on December 15th, 1991, they wire Maurice up to go talk to Forrest, but Forrest clearly has no idea what he's talking about.
No. Maurice has made up this story, I believe.
Yeah. John Jones is like, Forrest couldn't organize a 2-car parade. Same. Huck believes in his body that Maurice is the guy, but that they couldn't prove it. The cops did some things at first, like they even hypnotized patrons at the yogurt
They
shop.
did everything, yeah.
They posted a reward. They have undercover police at the funeral mic'd up. They use billboards. Like, they're trying.
They are, yeah.
This is a case where you're going to have to rely on the community to come forward with something. And then you have to try to corroborate it.
And it seems like, from what I've seen in other, like the Crime Junkie and what I've read online, there were a few people who came forward and said there were some weird guys in the yogurt shop that night.
Yes.
And these are mystery weird guys.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
This happened, I know I've probably told you this before, but this happened at a Wendy's by me. Mm-hmm. We had Krista, I forget the girl's last name, but she was like 16, maybe 17, and she was opening the store. And when she went in, another coworker was in there waiting for her, and he killed her.
Oh my God.
It was a very, very brutal crime and very upsetting. And like, it just, I don't know, as my girls got older and they got jobs, like they worked at Dunkin' and stuff, I was always so paranoid about them opening and closing.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're at risk.
Yeah.
Especially closing when you have all the money.
Yeah. And you have to like take the garbage out and like do all outside things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did it. When I worked at McDonald's, I would close and it was 2:00 in the morning we were getting out of there.
And no one thought a thing.
No.
Yeah.
So the second episode gets into the investigation, centers around the wrongful detentions, coerced confessions. I just have notes.
Yeah.
So Sonora, Eliza's sister, has written a book, and she's a beautiful writer.
Oh.
And she says she was supposed to be there that night, and she would have been the fifth victim. Could you imagine what that feels like?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh.
John Jones was diagnosed with PTSD, taken off the case. He shows us his green shirt and says he will wear it again when this case is solved. And we learn that he has divorced his cute wife we saw in the 48 Hours in the first episode.
And he has seemed to live a cursed, sad life. Like, it looks like his whole, like, in one scene, he's talking and he is visibly shaking as he's talking. Yeah. Like, this took such a toll on this man's life.
Could you imagine the responsibility you feel of having to solve this?
Yeah, and they became
look at those families every day, and they were very close to the families.
Very close. And some people said maybe too close.
Yeah, might have been a problem. Because you have to remain objective. Like, you have to. So they ended up with 6 written confessions and 40 verbal confessions from Hector Blanco, probably all of them.
Yeah.
At one point, they had 342 suspects because they offered a $100,000 reward, and it led to a wild influx of calls.
Yeah, and like they advertised all the money in like ones and like took a picture of it, like come and get your money. Yeah.
I keep thinking about the High Bridge murder, the Delphi murders, and how that one lady found that tip that had been overlooked for 10 years. Yeah. Like, I wonder if they go back to those tips they got from
the beginning days. Yeah,
like if I were a detective, that's where I'd start.
Yeah,
like a cold case detective, I'd be like, okay, give me every tip that's ever come in, and let's look at it with fresh eyes. Yeah. So Sonora says this one line I thought was interesting. So in my work with school shooting survivors, I talked with a lot of people who lost siblings. I also talked with a lot of parents who lost a child and had a surviving child. Yeah. And this really resonated with me because it's a theme you see a lot when Sonora says, when you lose a sibling, you lose your parents too.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
100%. Yep.
And it's
they
not,
were,
so
they
sad.
were not allowed to talk about Eliza.
She said that after the day she died, after it happened, they never spoke of her again. Yeah. Like,
that's just how we thought about grief sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember working on I forget which shooting it was, but it was one that happened right before Columbine. And like they just didn't know what to do. So the principal just demanded they all come back to school the next day. And the parents were there that night, like helping to clean the blood off the walls. And everybody was going to come back. It was wild, but they didn't know what to do. Like they had never dealt with that kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The more I learn about grief, the more it makes sense to me that we don't lean into it enough, and we should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my mom, she lost her father when she was pretty young. She was 21. We never talked about it. We never talked about him. We weren't allowed to. We just didn't talk about him. And I see Timmy grieving his father, and I'm always like, talk about him. Like, let's talk about him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting.
I think one of the nicest things someone said to me after my mom died was I was still processing everything, and I was at a mommy and me group, and this woman looked at me and goes, what was her favorite thing to do? And it took me by surprise. Like, you don't know me hardly. You don't know my mom, but you're not saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's going to be okay. It's what was her favorite thing to do?
Yeah, like, tell me about her.
Yeah. Yeah. And that gave me permission to talk about her regularly. You know, it was, I did very intensive grief therapy, probably about 10 years in my 30s, and really worked through some grief. And we need to talk about it more. We need to lean in. We need to love people. And I can go on a whole other tangent about that.
You're going to make me cry. You better stop. All right, back to this. So we meet Angie Ayers, who's Sean's wife. Sean is Amy's brother. And she's contacted by a private team of internet sleuths. And here I have, how do we get that job?
Oh,
all of us, all the listeners,
cool.
We could do this.
Yes.
Bob Ayers says this really nice thing. He says, Angie reminds him of Amy and what she would have looked like when she grew up. Because Amy was like a gifted equestrian. She loved horses. She loved to ride. And like Angie does that. Yeah. Now.
They're very, I don't know if this is the right term. They're very rodeo. Like they're always on a horse.
Yes, yes.
I was like, they got the belt buckles to prove it.
Yep. So the Ayers family, the Ayers family has a pharmacy connected to a gun shop. And I wrote, if that's not America, I don't know what is.
If this is in Texas, don't.
Yeah. Sheila Wysocki is the PI. And what'd you think of the scene with the wind chimes? Did you think it was nice? Because I kind of fell for it.
I did. I was like, this is lovely that she has these chimes in her backyard, and like the symbolic message of the families hanging it in the tree. And
yes.
I was like,
I liked it.
That's a good little,
Yeah, I liked it. So in 1997, the case is reopened with new detectives, and this is where Paul Johnson comes in.
Yes.
And he's going to focus at first on the Creek people, not for the reason you might think of maybe the Creek people are involved, but because the Creek people can probably help him pin it on Maurice and the other boys.
Yes.
Ron Lara is the other detective, and they work through 2,000 tips, and then they get to Maurice. They bring in Robert Springsteen for questioning, and he ends up saying Maurice did it.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Episode 3. Here we go. I have a lot of notes for this episode.
Okay.
So this episode explores, I'm just getting little summaries if you can't tell. This episode explores how the suspect's statements evolved under scrutiny. In October 1999, all four, Pierce, Wellborn, Springsteen, and Scott, are arrested. Forrest Wellborn is released soon after, and Maurice never confesses.
No.
So there's this expert, Robert Schomer, who talks about how false memories are often created to fill in gaps. Like your memory doesn't like gaps. So it will fill it in. And they can be, these memories that are used to fill in can be constructed from things that might be rooted in reality, but might not be. They could be constructed from persuasion. I thought that was really interesting.
And like your brain is not a VHS recording that you just play back.
Yes.
And when there's things missing, your brain makes the common sense leaps to connect it all.
Yes, 100%. So Maurice Pierce. Okay. Paul Johnson says, my original focus was Maurice.
Yeah.
But then he found the taped confession from Hector. And when it starts, you hear Maurice say, or you hear Hector say, so let's go through what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So clearly, there's a lot missing.
It's very leading.
The interview, Becca, went from midnight to day shift at least, maybe longer. Day shift is when Hector went home and Jones came in, and John Jones got a statement from him. That's where the written statement was provided. Paul compared the tape and the written statement and said they're not the same. His written story only involves Forrest, but in the recorded interview, he mentioned the Creek people.
Yeah.
So now we meet Kevin Parlin and Mac Luden. They were 15, 16, did a shit ton of drinking in that creek.
Mm-hmm.
And Maurice named Mac or Mace specifically, said he was a skinhead, and said where he lived. And Mac checks all those boxes.
Check. Yeah.
Yep. Forrest and Mac said they lit those bodies up. That's what Maurice said.
Yeah.
Why is Maurice telling different stories, Paul wonders. The police really should have not stopped there until they figured out why there's a discrepancy.
Yeah.
But they never did.
They never
followed up on it. So now here's the scene. Production asks about Mace, Mac Luden.
Yep.
Paul said, I don't know. Like, he gets real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. There's nobody called Mace, so we ruled him out. And I wrote, either he's flustered by the question because he wasn't prepared for it, or something's going on here.
Yeah, I need to know more. It feels like there's more by his reaction.
Yeah, and I'm not I'm not implying that Mace is the murderer or Mac is the murderer, but why was he never looked at? And if he wasn't, or if he was, why aren't we told about that?
Yeah.
Like, all Paul had to say in this moment was, oh, they investigated him and they cleared him.
Yeah.
Okay.
They thought his nickname was this. We realized it wasn't, and he's not involved.
So Paul goes and he interviews Maurice at his house in 1998. Maurice says, I don't remember anything. I blocked it out. Johnson calls the other three in to see what they did that day, and he said they were all different accounts, but their alibis were all each other.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
They all had the common theme of going to San Antonio, and each one of them remembered stopping to buy a newspaper. And Paul brings up a good point. He's like, why would three guys in a stolen car going out of town to get some stop and buy a newspaper?
But also in 1991, the newspaper was the only way we found things out.
It was, but were you reading it at 15, 16, 17? I mean, unless it was in an MTV news break, I wasn't getting it.
Yeah, unless I had to get the newspaper for a specific reason.
Oh, maybe like the classified ads. Maybe they were trying to find a place they could sell the car.
Yeah. Or what if they got, because remember back in the day, you used to put like sexy ads in the newspaper. What if they were looking for ladies?
I don't know what kind of newspapers you have out there in San Francisco.
We used to have a magazine, and in the back it had all the sexy ads.
We had that too. It was called Electric City. So Maurice was the ringleader, and one girl says he's the type. So they're interviewing his friends who are like, I guess like punk rock, whatever. They have like different color hair, some piercings, some tattoos.
These two girls.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like them.
I know, but they were not like, I didn't view them as Satanists or like they were just whatever.
They were just two busybody girls who are now two busybody ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's the type that would, Maurice is the type that would steal your dog and return it later for a reward. And they're like, Robert is creepy as fuck. And I forget which one they say, like, would show you his dick in the parking lot.
It was Robert. And
was
then
it Robert?
They high-fived each other like, yeah, that's a good one. High five.
Okay, all right. So in 1999, we see Paul bringing in the Creek people, but not to ask them if they did it or where they were.
No.
Just to see if they had any dirt on these four boys.
Yeah.
And he says they were kind of able to confirm some of what Maurice had said in the verbal confession. Okay. So now they question Forrest. And what I appreciated about this from the producer is that we saw the timestamps.
Yes.
So Forrest is adamant he had nothing to do with it. And I have clocked 7 hours.
Yep.
They questioned him.
Yes.
7 hours.
Can you, why did any, yeah.
Are you okay?
No. Like, why didn't anyone ask for a lawyer?
Oh, man. I know. These are all underage kids.
Yeah,
Where are their parents?
Where are their parents? Who, I have always told my sons.
Well, I shouldn't say that. They weren't underage when they were questioned this time.
But the first time they were?
The first time they were, yes.
I have always told my sons, especially when they were younger, if the police take you in, you say, I want my mother and I want a lawyer. And you do not, it doesn't matter what it is.
You know, it would be handy if you were a lawyer. Then they could say, I want my mother, comma, the lawyer.
Yes. Damn.
Yeah.
If I'd only worked harder.
All right, so Michael Scott is interviewed, and it goes about 5.5, 6 hours, and then he starts to crack.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys made a bunch of memories trigger. And he eventually says it was Maurice's idea. He needed the money, and he says he was there, Robert was there, Maurice was there, and Forrest was there. Did I name too many people? No, all
No,
four
that's all
were
of
there
them.
is what
Yeah.
he said. So now they go to West Virginia. They talk to Robert Springsteen. He says he was at the Rocky Horror Picture Show that night.
Yep.
And the cops tell him, no, you weren't, because it didn't air that night. But it did.
It did.
Yes.
Yes.
So he really denies being anywhere near the yogurt shop, and he even offers to take a lie detector.
Yeah.
They don't take him up on that.
No.
Instead, they just keep working at him, and eventually he cracks.
Yep.
So they arrest all 4 boys. And Barbara, the mother of Jennifer and Sarah, Barbara, I have to give her credit here because she's the only one who's out there saying, well, I just hope they get a fair trial.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thrilled, but I hope that we have the right people and that it's, you know what I mean? Like, she's really kind of, she wants justice, not revenge, if that makes sense.
Where I think some of the other families want revenge.
Yeah, and I can't blame them. I
No.
would be a maniac.
Oh, yeah.
I would be making all sorts of threats and
Burn the courthouse down for no reason other than just burning courthouses.
and I'd probably be right there with you.
You know, I would be a menace, a full-blown menace.
Yeah. So I never judge a parent's reaction.
No.
But I did think it was interesting that Barbara had the wherewithal to understand
Yes.
that this could be worse if we put kids in jail who didn't do it. And I say kids, they're men by this point, but
they're
they were
young
kids
men.
at the time.
Yeah.
So Forrest is offered a deal, and they said, we'll leave you alone if you testify against the other 3. And he says, no, I can't lie. Like, I'm not doing it.
Thank goodness for Forrest. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other 3 boys are indicted, and Springsteen and Michael Scott, face the death penalty. So now we meet Springsteen's lawyer, Joe Sawyer. I really liked this guy.
Yeah, I did too.
And he says, look, I know that Robert Springsteen looked into the camera and said, I did it. Mm-hmm. But you need to understand the stress and the fear that he felt.
Yeah.
And Carlos Garcia is Michael Scott's lawyer. I really liked him too.
I liked all their lawyers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He said, I read Michael's written confession and it was horrific. I did not know how I was going to defend this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, I had to put it aside. And then what he did is he went and he studied the crime scene. Mm-hmm. Then he came back to it and he realized that they didn't match.
Nothing matched.
Nope. And he says, there were 3 options. Either I don't remember or I'm lying, or I don't remember or I'm lying are 2 options. He said, but there was a 3rd option. Mm-hmm. They're lying. The police are lying.
Yep.
And the Rocky Horror Picture Show was playing, and
It
they
was.
lied.
And you find out that there is some controversy about a book that the police use for interrogations. Therapists therapists feel that it's a book that helps you mislead people, and the police believe that it's the holy Bible of interrogations. And just to know that the police can lie to your face when you're sitting in a room with them doesn't seem fair.
I think it's very critical that we all know that now.
Yes.
Because we didn't know that.
No.
If you had put me in a police interrogation room 5 years ago and, somebody was saying I murdered somebody and they had it on camera, I might be like, do I have a doppelganger? Like, I would never think they were lying.
Especially
and
if
now
you've
I'd be
been
like,
in there.
really? Do you have it? Let's see it.
Especially if you've been in that room for 7 hours and you're hungry and you're tired.
Mm-hmm. And you're scared.
You're scared. And maybe you have done some small crimes here and there. Mm-hmm. I think one of the saddest scenes is Michael Scott sitting as an adult. And he looks at the camera and goes, I've been manipulated so much that still to this day, I don't know what the truth is and where my place in the truth is. Like,
Yeah.
They did one over on these boys.
Yep. So Paul Johnson says a true confession is if someone gives you evidence that is not known. And Robert Springsteen knew Amy's body position. Now, I watched this like 5 times.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was just saying she was laying on her stomach with an arm out. Like, wouldn't that be everybody?
Yeah, I think he said I think he goes, oh, she was further away. Like he did kind of mention.
He did say further away. Okay.
It was something about that. Yeah, I don't remember. I wish I had remembered word for word, but so I think they took that he meant they were separated. He knew they were separated.
Okay. Well, that's interesting if that's the case.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
So there is a point of similarity. Mike says he tried to have sex, but he couldn't perform. Mm-hmm. And Robert Springsteen, unprovoked, confirms that.
Yeah.
Ugh. So Mike Scott says the fire started on the bodies. Carlos says, no, it didn't. It started on the shelves.
Yeah.
And the Austin police department ruled that, or fire department ruled that in 1991, that it was a V pattern that started on the shelving.
Yeah.
So now the prosecution finds an expert who says the bodies were so close to the shelves it could have started on them. All right. So here's the issue and how the boys were eventually cleared.
Yeah.
Not cleared. The charges were not dismissed. They were granted a new trial and then they didn't press charges. Okay.
Yeah.
So could they testify against one another? The judge ruled no. So they are trying them without the testimony of their accuser. And that is against the Sixth Amendment, which says, if you accuse me, I have the right to confront my accuser. And this was a blatant constitutional error.
Yes.
Springsteen and Scott are found guilty. Their lawyers were devastated. Barbara says he's going to die. And she's upset. And they drop the charges against Maurice. They can't prove the case and has never confessed. Paul is hopeful they'll find the evidence. Okay. In 2006, like I said, because of that Sixth Amendment, the men are released. So they served 6 years in prison.
Yeah.
Springsteen and Scott. That's it.
Yeah.
Maurice out living his best life so far. And who's the other one? Help me. Forrest. Forrest never confessed. So he's out there. So the high court in Texas is who freed them. And they ruled a 5-4 ruling that they should get a new trial based on the Sixth Amendment.
Yeah.
So now they're going to look for DNA evidence, and they find some.
Yes. This was fascinating.
This was fascinating. Did you go on a DNA rabbit hole? Did you tell me you were going down one, but it stopped?
I talked to 3 people I work with about DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, those people, I presume, know what they're talking about.
Yes. Just not some randoms at the water cooler.
Right.
People with...
Like, Becca doesn't work at Kohl's. Just, hey, can we talk about DNA?
Yeah, no. I work with some people who are in the DNA world and understand it much more than I do, and are doctors.
Did they give you any insight or no? Not really.
They did. They said it's very confusing because how DNA has progressed and these markers, and it really went above my head, to be honest, a lot of what they said.
I understand. Okay. I wasn't hopeful we'd be able to get that information back just based on how we are.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And I thought, man, I should have been taking notes. I was in other meetings. And I was like, hey, guys, actually, I have one last topic.
What is YSTR?
A murder I'm trying to solve from the 90s.
So they do this DNA testing and they find a profile. It's YSTR, which excludes the Y chromosome, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. So they find a profile inside of Amy Ayers, and it doesn't match any of these 4 men.
No.
So to me, even if there's circumstantial evidence, which I don't think there is, maybe you can argue that he knew Amy's body placement, but that could have gotten out from one of the families. That could have been like a rumor, you know what I mean, in the rumor mill. To me, them not matching this DNA evidence to the 4 of them tells you either there was a 5th person, which I don't believe that because they would have said it, or these are not the murderers.
These boys have nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the DNA, first of all, the families and some of the police are trying to say the DNA is contaminated.
Yeah.
It's not. And just in case, they tested over 200 people that came into any kind of contact with the bodies, with the crime scene, even the medical examiner.
Yes.
And it did not match anybody.
No.
And because it's YSTR, you can't run it through a database. There's not a database for it.
No.
At least there wasn't. I don't think there is now.
No.
So the DA announces no new trials until we find out who this DNA profile matches.
Mm-hmm.
July 2009. It comes out that the gun Paul Johnson is using to tie the boys to the crime scene does not match the gun used in the crime scene.
Yep.
And Paul Johnson is pressed on this by the director, and he just kind of says, well, he had other guns. You know, we heard from the Creek people that he had a lot of other guns. We were just trying to prove like he had a gun.
But just having a gun doesn't mean you used your gun in a crime.
No. And then he's sort of saying, well, 2 juries found these boys guilty. So, yeah, but they're going on the evidence you're giving them.
Mm-hmm. You can only view, it's like this documentary. I can only view what you're showing me and make an opinion of it.
Yes, good point. Yeah, yep. So we have no blood, no hair, no DNA, no fingerprints that are linked to any of these 4 boys.
No. But yet they will not clear them.
And one was on death row.
Yes. Robert.
Yes. So they're in this weird space where they can still bring charges.
Yeah.
So Springsteen's attorney tells him, get the fuck out of Texas.
Yeah.
Go back to West Virginia, like, get out of here. Because the cops want you.
And they'll find a reason to pick you up, to pull you over. They're going to do anything to, ruin your life.
And now we know Maurice Pierce was shot and killed by a police officer. I'm just going to tell you what the documentary said happened. Mm-hmm. He was pulled over because he has an inherent fear of the police.
Yep.
He starts to run. The cop tackles him to the ground. Allegedly, he stabs the police officer, and the police officer shoots him.
And he's gone.
He's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead. I can't. Okay.
And his family talked about how his life was ruined. Like, he didn't trust anyone. He couldn't hold jobs down.
Yeah.
Everyone in town knew who he was.
Yeah.
And it,
And Bob Ayers is like, I wish I got to see him and put the bullet in myself. Like, the family believes he did it. Mm-hmm. Bob Ayers, the Ayers family.
Yeah, for sure they do.
So Maurice's lawyer tells us he was always cooperative. No, I don't think this is Maurice's lawyer. I apologize. I think it's Springsteen's lawyer. Maurice was always cooperative, and, they talk, like, Paul Johnson interviewed this guy constantly.
Yeah,
and
they would just bring him in.
Always talked to him. He never lawyered up. He always talked to him.
Yeah.
And he told him, we hear a recording of it where he's telling Paul Johnson that Polanco scared the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And that, like, he was threatening him. And I even read an article that there was, like, a gun to somebody's head at some point. So, like, Polanco was wild.
Oh, I believe that guy took him out for a car ride and beat him up. And you know what I mean? Like, anything that you would tell me about that officer, I would believe negatively.
Yeah. Dan Jackson now is the cold case unit detective assigned in 2021.
Yeah.
He talks about, like, not wanting to get this case. Like, I solved every case, and then I come over here, and they're like, here's Yogurt Shop. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
He talks about, and we hear this a lot in these cold cases, they have a very small sample of the DNA. They don't want to use it up. They're doing this, I believe, was it John Bonet that they're doing this as well? They don't know when they want to use it. They want to make sure the technology is advanced enough. They get one shot at it. So they're, like, preserving it. So the producer, or the filmmaker, I should say, asks them about the DNA being contaminated. Mm-hmm. And he says, look, we sent several different items to different labs at different times, and the profile came back the same on all of them.
Yes.
He does not think it is contaminated. And the producer goes, so that undoes the confessions. And he goes, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
I believe that the officer that's working on it today does not, I don't think he thinks these are the guys. Like,
I agree with you.
And I don't think Barbara thinks it either. Like, the vibe I got from her when she was speaking, it's like, I don't think she thinks these are the guys either. Like,
yeah.
And it's so sad. The police station has all the girls' pictures still up.
I know.
They have a replica of the yogurt shop. Like,
yep.
This is still weighing on Austin to this day.
And we have to remember how close the families were to the original investigators. So it is very possible, for example, that one of the investigators told the Ayers family that Amy was away from the rest of the bodies.
Yep.
And then, Sean, Amy's brother, mentions that to a buddy that he's talking to, and then that person, and that person,
Yep.
and that's how that gets back into the teen or 20-something gossip of the town.
Yep.
And then, Robert Springsteen or Michael Scott repeats that
They
in
heard
an
it.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And the new officer who has it, I can't remember his name, I apologize. He said, there are so many rumors in this case, it's a mess.
It's Dan Jackson.
Dan Jackson.
Yeah. So Sheila Wiskoski, the PI, she's back with their couch detectives. They're interviewing Paul Johnson now.
Yes.
And he said if he had to do it again, he would have focused on the Creek people who had tips about Maurice. Oh, my God.
Leave Maurice alone. Put him to
Jesus
rest.
Christ. Yeah.
Get him out of your head.
Yeah. So Mac, the former Creek person, is like, this is insane. Like, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sonora talks with Barbara. Mm-hmm. Oh. And they bring Sonora and Eliza's father in. And he talks about struggling with feeling guilty for, living a full life.
Broke my heart.
And Sonora talks about how this tragedy has opened her to love more. And Barbara's like, well, you can kind of feel both, right? You can be cynical, but you can also be loving. And Barbara says if she had to do this all over again, she would have stepped back from the press.
Yeah.
And then we get this beautiful scene between just the two of them.
Oh, they're holding hands.
I was sobbing.
Oh,
I was sobbing.
My son had to come out of his room because he heard me sobbing, sit down next to me, and
console you.
It's all right, Mom. It's just a show. I'm like, it's not just a show. This is their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
They hold hands, and Barbara cries and says how hard it was to go through this again.
Yeah.
Sonora says, you've given me a huge gift. And Barbara says, I hope this helps somebody. And Sonora says, it helped me. And Barbara says, that's the only person I care about.
Yeah. And then you're reminded that it's a documentary. And I found it interesting that they left this scene in where the camera person or the director comes and goes, that was great, but we want to do a wide angle now. Can you move this way? Mm-hmm. And you're taken back of just as there was also this underlining theme of how much is too much, how much is too much media. Mm-hmm. And I think in that moment you saw it, is this so much media, so much eyes on a case good? Having documentaries, is it good? These are people, it kind of accumulated in that moment to me of
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is something we struggle with, I think, culturally now, which is we have a lot of TikTok detectives, right?
Yes.
So in the Gabby Petito case, that was handy because it was literally a TikToker who helps track her van down to where and to find her. But is too much, there were also a ton of false leads. There were people maligned online because rumors were starting. You know what I mean? It was really, really bad. Yeah. So, how much of that is good? How much of that is bad? I think as humans, it's our instinct to be the more people we have trying to solve this, the better.
The better, yeah.
But not when you're
not when you're living it.
And not when you're saying oh, it was Joe Schmo, I think, the high school teacher. And it wasn't. That's a problem.
To know every 15 years, every 10 years, 48 hours is going to come rolling around again to do their update. Sometimes it's when you're the victim. And I heard this with the Idaho murders. I think it was one of the family members said, I think after that documentary on
the Koberger case?
Yes. One of the families said, you got this documentary, the trial is done, now leave us alone. Yeah. And you're never going to be left alone.
No. I understand the desire to want it documented.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. It's interesting because we think about Michael Peterson.
Yeah.
Grabbing that film crew and being I need you to document this. I mean, is it 90% because he's a pompous windbag? Yes. Mm-hmm. But is it 10% because, you want transparency and you want people to see what's happening? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
And that's where you get in that whole, is the true crime genre even ethical? As
Well,
we're
I
on a
will-
true crime show talking. You know?
I will tell. How dare you? Yes, I will tell you that one of the mothers, it might have been Barbara, said no, it wasn't Barbara. I think it was Amy Ayer's mother. Maybe said, the reason true crime is so important is because it allows people to tell their story,
Yeah.
and it might be a story that might be forgotten. Like
Yeah.
this was a sensational murder.
Yeah.
So like it's unsolved, but there are a lot of crimes that get no attention.
No attention. Yeah. When she was saying that, it made me think of your mom, because your mom had that great quote of like,
Yes.
it's our obligation to watch these if somebody has made it so that
Yeah.
we know. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're brave enough to tell their story, we owe it to them to listen or to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the end, we see the Ayers family working with the cold case team. The cold case team sits them down. They're vowing to be open with them,
Yeah.
saying they're going to work this case really hard. It's haunted the department. And then this is where we close with Claire, who says she feels like she didn't finish the film, but she's glad she preserved the footage.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk about in her, it's almost meta, right? Because it's like we're watching a filmmaker's film that's not made.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And one of the interesting things is she's in her 20s making that film, and you hear her interviewing Barbara.
Yes.
And she's like, so how do you feel about your daughters being murdered? And she can't even watch it. She closes the laptop. She's like, oh, what was I doing?
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting to look at it rhetorically, like how not only our conversation around grief has changed, but just how you see it when you get older.
Yes.
And you're like, why would I just go like blazing in there and being like, how'd that feel? But
Barbara answered it, and she answered it beautifully.
she did.
And like, it's amazing how you remember every moment. Like, it's seared in her mind.
Yeah.
And then you could hear in her voice the panic in certain parts, and like,
Yeah. So in a move that nobody's probably expecting, I'm going to give this 4 Dursts.
I thought it was good. I
thought it was really a beautiful tribute to those girls.
Yes, and I stand by why I think it's hard for us to watch it, because it is open grief in front of us, and there's no resolution. We're not going to find out who the bad guy was at the end.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
we don't know.
The only reason it's not higher, like a 4.5, is I did think it was a little too long.
Yes.
I think it could have been 3 episodes.
Yes.
But I don't think they wasted that time.
No.
I think they gave it to the victims' families, and I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, my friend. What do you think? Do you think, what are your theories? Do you think they know who did it? Do you have any idea who did it? Do you think these 4 boys are behind this?
No, I don't think the 4 boys are behind it.
I keep saying boys. They're men.
They're men now, yeah. They were boys at the time.
Yeah.
I think that there is something suspicious about the 2 unknown men that were sitting in the yogurt shop as it was closing. Mm-hmm. I think that it matches kind of perfectly. 2 men, 2 different guns. Mm-hmm. I think that they probably did that, and then they got the hell out of town, and they never went back to Austin again.
So I agree with you. The way that no evidence has ever come forward tells me that these are people who did not know this town and did not know these people.
No.
They may have been passing through, whatever. This may, for them, be a blip on something larger. I don't know. I just feel like there was also an active serial killer around this time that they were trying to link it with. I forget his name. A really bad guy, apparently.
Oof.
So there's that, but the cops did question this guy when he was on death row, and hoping to maybe, entice him with a little bit of like, maybe we'll get your death sentence converted, and he didn't give up anything, and he seemed to not know anything about it. So I think they kind of let it go. But I just don't think it was anybody in that community, or I think it would have come out.
I also think that it's been so long and no one can hold a secret forever.
Right.
The people involved may be dead.
That's true. That's true. And if it was 2 people, which it definitely had to be, 4 girls is a lot to manage.
Yeah.
And Didn't somebody say at one point, and 4-H girls at that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was John Jones who kind of said, these 4 boys wouldn't stand a chance with these 4 girls. These 4 girls
Yeah.
would have taken these 4 little boys down.
Yeah,
Guns or
they
no
were
guns.
tough girls.
Yeah.
And so it had to be at least 2 people, right?
Yes.
And I just feel like either one is dead or they're both dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the other alternative is that they both committed enough of the crime that it's mutually assured destruction and nobody's going to come forward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think that for all this time, for it to be in the news all the time, somebody involved has to be dead.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, we did it. We're at the end. 4 full hour episodes
Yes.
in an hour and 6 minutes.
We're amazing.
We did it.
We did it.
Guys, if you want to hear Becca and I solve the Michael Peterson staircase drama, you can support us by joining Murder Club, which is our Patreon or Apple subscriptions. Links are in the show notes. $10 a month, you get all your episodes ad-free and 1 or 2 bonus episodes a week, depending.
Yeah.
But staircase every week.
Yeah, staircase every week. And it's going to be so sad when it's done.
I know. I don't know. I may or may not have ordered a prop.
Yes.
So look out for that.
Oh, I can't wait.